Good day and welcome to another beautiful morning to be experiencing some newspaper front page headlines as well as our tech news from science to tech and in Africa, outside Africa, anywhere you can think of. As far as the news is trending on people's lips, it's trending in the studio here. And I am not alone, I am with a very beautiful co-host.
Beautiful. I think that's for the female. I prefer you rather say
I
handsome.
want to call you beautiful.
Oh, you choose to call me beautiful.
Today.
Okay. Suit yourself. Okay, good morning, viewer. My name is Samuel Odemi. Thank you for joining us today on our newspaper review on Nigeria Television.
Well, I am Jacobs Deborah, and we will be going into the Punch newspaper front page, where we see Christians not endangled or marginalized by the federal government tackle crisis in page 7, and we see Adamawa ADC gives Atiku autonomium to pick membership card in page 7. We also see beneath it that the big headline, marketers fear fuel price hike as Pegasan strikes begin in page 49. All the union orders shutdown of power plants and allege that military fuel crude supply stoppage. We also see that petrol export hits 371 billion naira amidst heavy import resilience, and also the Wike land makers absent as Fubara, Independence Thanksgiving in page 9. And if you look beneath that same newspaper, we see that Oshun PDP APC clashes as federal government releases local government allocation in page 8. And also on page 5, police rescues trafficked Ghanaians, arrest 5 in Ogun State. And beside it in page 8, 2027, NGE warns politicians against personal attacks. That is, in fact, the one I actually want to focus on is actually the big headline, where marketers fear the full price. We've seen that Dangote and Pegasan, as well as Nupeng, started I don't want to call it a war, but they've been having issues and disagreements, which has to do with Dangote's people registering under Nupeng,
the union.
Union, and which they did. At the end of the day, they came to an agreement with the help of the federal government as well as the DSS also. And now we are seeing another argument. Now there has been a large amount of, let's say, sack letter given to some workers that are working with Dangote
over
refinery.
800. Let's not forget the number.
That's why I say large numbers. I don't want to focus on the number, because when you call the numbers, it's a lot of people actually that has lost their jobs, and people are coming out to say, or unions are coming out to say, unions like the Peng and even Pegasan are coming out to say that this is because of the fact that they had registered under the thing. That is an allegation, by the way, because Dangote company have come out to say that they've not. Thank you. That's a false rumor. Like they cannot hold that against them yet. But anyway, let's look into the main story. We see that Nigerian faces a threat of widespread hardship as Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria and Pegasan begins a nationwide strike. The union has ordered members to halt crude oil gas supplies to Dangote refinery, accusing the company of sacking over 800 workers for union activities and replacing them with foreigners. The shutdown has already crippled operations at refinery and fertilized plants, raising concerns for fuel scarcity and the rising pump of fuel prices. And we also see that the strike also is set to paralyze the power generation, with gas suppliers directing power companies to shut down and providing more than 70% of Nigeria's electricity. The Association of Power Generation Companies warned that the imminent nationwide blackout, while all marketers cautioned that supply disruption could destabilize the fuel market. Now, the things that we're looking into here, I want us to actually look into is the fact that Nigerians were taken out and replaced with foreigners. That's one. And the fact that of course, it's an allegation, and we know that we can't say anything about it here because we've not been able to, or they have not taken it properly to the court, and the court being able to rule that, okay, yes, this is what's happening, and they've not been able to say it with proper proof, so we cannot speak anything on that. But my own focus is the fact that so many people has lost. We are talking about job in a country where job opportunity is scarce, and the height of poverty in the country is something else. And it raises, in fact, poverty is something that increases every day. It's on the hike. Every day it increases. From how many percent it increases. It's not something that is depreciating that we can understand. And of course, we know that prices of other things are involved. Now, that's one on the side of Dangote, the fact that he replaced his workers with foreigners. That's one. Secondly, the response of striking. This is, how would I say, this is like
alarming. Every response to a problem strike.
No, Nigeria has a default setting that they respond to every problem with striking first. They first put a strike, and they feel like people don't listen to them if they do not strike. It's a language spoken by most unions in in Nigeria. The student union, ASU, and every other thing. Every other union, even the doctor, stroke nurse, and midwife union, they would come out and they would strike. But that's a big problem. We've been trying to tackle that. Now, my own problem is the fact that it's not the fact that they're striking. This strike will still affect a lot of things. Now, let's imagine those 800 workers who have just lost their jobs. They are still going to go and meet the hike of things in the market because, of course, there will be no production of fuel, and there will be fuel scarcity and all of that. So imagine losing your job and going back to, will I say, an extra problem.
See this issue with strike. Let me even start from that. I just wish Nigeria can go beyond answering every problem with a strike, because at some point, it does not really affect them at the top. Because if you ask me,
of course,
if we are looking at the NERD, that's the Resident Doctors Union, whenever they embark on a strike trying to resolve a particular problem on ground, those at the top that are responsible for some of these conflicts, you hardly see them patronizing Nigerian hospitals. But we that are the grassroots, we are the ones that are affected. If every union should continue like that, we are going to be affected. Okay, take for instance, if we as a pressman, maybe one way or the other, we are not really good with some particular services, and we decide to embark on it.
Come to think of it, I don't think the press have gone on strike. They've never.
If we should do something like that, there are a lot of persons that are going to be misinformed. There are a lot, because many people are depending on us to make some informed decisions. They are depending on us to live their lives. They are depending on us to know what is happening in the world right now. So if we can embark on a strike like that, imagine the number of people that will be misled, right? So I just feel strike as a response to every little misunderstanding is far. Think of something else, because people are going to be affected. You might not feel the pain because you fly any little thing, you fly them to overseas to go and get your treatment. Meanwhile, the hospitals that are on strike, those that goes to the hospital, they don't have anywhere to go. They don't have the money for the flight. They don't have passports. They don't. So I just wish Nigeria can make amends in every response to strike. And regarding the fact that Nigeria workers were laid off and replaced with foreign people, foreign workers, is it that we're not good enough? Look at Nigeria. One of the things that the world can even point to us, or we can point to ourselves, is the aspect of poverty. They know that we are jobs that we're even looking for. Somebody was explaining something to me. I was like, Samuel, get your hands busy. Try to learn a skill. Try to, be self-owned, like a sole proprietorship of something. Not that you are. When he began to analyze it, he asked me, how many of you are in your class? Like in your department? I gave the number. He laughed. He said, okay, in that department, what about the rest of the levels? He asked. I tried to give him a number. Summing us all up, we are about 1 million. He said, okay, that is a federal university. Look at the state university in the same state. That number too, quite all right. There are also polytechnic in the same state that are still studying the same course, right? And looking at all the remaining 35 states in Nigeria. It was like, what gives you the assurance that? So I'm just trying to lay, exactly, I'm just trying to lay emphasis on the way jobs are really scarce. And over 800 workers are privileged to work in an industry, in an industry as, okay, should we say good, right? Because definitely they will get to feed their families from that, right? And yet you decide to lay them off, and you are replacing them with foreign workers. Had it been even AI, robotics, we understand the fact. Because I saw something earlier when a man, it was a movie actually, he partnered with a tech company, agreed with them, paid a large amount of money, brought in robotics, right? Laid the stars with it. All they just needed to do was just to charge them. And they work, because what a robot can do, 5 men can try to do that together. So this one is not even robots. That will say, these are still human beings. So what is the difference? What is the difference? So I just feel something needs to be done, because this is our complaint. We need works, and now somebody gets job and you are trying to lay him off.
So our question is to Dangote.
Yes.
What is the reason why you laid off 800 Nigerian workers to replace with foreigners in a country where we are looking for, or we're looking towards empowering our, citizens, and actually reducing the job absency in Nigeria? So please, let's know why. Let's know why. There should be a reason. If it's not according to what Nupeng has allegedly come out to accuse you of, then you should have a reason, and it should be said out. We'll be looking into the Guardian newspaper next. We see that $10 asks federal government to release subsidy panel report and unmarks a real beneficiaries. We also see that the insecurity, ADC says Tinubu unqualified to seek UNS seat in page 3. We also see that the federal government, others urge unity, shared responsibility at the 65th Independent Service in page 3 of that newspaper. We also see that Osun, NU, LGE, PDP queries federal government and demands details of released local government funds in page 8, and big headline, the Nigerian risk 14.7 billion naira daily loss, fuel crisis as Dangote and Pegasan rift deepens in page 5. I think that's what we're talking about, and we're already seeing that there's already a prediction of a 14.7 billion naira risk daily. Billionaire daily risk of losing this huge amount of money just because of a fight between two different big people that don't want to drop. Please, at this point, I think everybody needs to come into this matter and actually look into it, because that's like we need to know what's happening, and we need to put a stop to this. Actually, this kind of situations should not be coming up in this extent, and to in an escalated manner that cannot be resolved. Please, let's see that this is put under control. Now we'll be looking into the federal government and others urge unity, shared responsibility at this 65th Independent Service, a very beautiful service. We see that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was represented by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who joined dignitaries, religious leaders, and diplomats at the National Christian Center in Abuja for an interdenominational service marking Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary. That's to all our viewers out there. So happy, will I say, 65th Independence Day in advance, because we are looking towards it. And this particular meeting was to gather and talk about the peace and unity and the growth of Nigeria. We're always talking about the growth of Nigeria. I think we should start accessing, we should start assessing the previous meeting. What the meetings that were held. Thank you. Discussed. What did we discuss that was going to make it better? Is wanting to come out and discuss about unity. We should lay down those principles that can bring us into that particular Nigeria that we're looking forward to, a Nigeria that is safe, that is job oriented, that is beautiful, that other persons can other countries can look at, and yes, we can call ourselves the giant of Africa. And other things. But anyway, like I said, this was actually a very beautiful meeting that all the dignitaries attended. We also see that the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, George Akume, called on Nigerians to support ongoing reforms, describing them as a long-term effort to transform the economy and strengthen institutions. He urged citizens to remain patient and engaged, emphasizing that sacrifice being made today will yield a better opportunity in food, energy, healthcare, education, job, and infrastructure. We also see that Bishop Francis Wale Oke added, if the unity prevails, Nigeria could evolve into a global force, likening to the vision of the United States of Nigeria. He called it the United States of Nigeria.
United States.
And
Okay.
I think that's one of the major things and major problem we were having. I think it was last year or the year before? We were talking, we're having issues with Nigeria trying to split, some people going out and forming their own, let's say, country as a whole. But of course, we need to come in unity and actually think about others. I think that was one of the things, statements the president's wife also mentioned, Oluremi mentioned during her birthday period, and she said instead of we collecting from the country, we should be able to give back, and we should be able to think about others. If we have that mindset driving all our leaders and every citizen, sub-leaders down to the citizen, right from the first represented Nigerian, that's our president, down, I think Nigeria would actually grow, because our growth is, well, I don't want to call it static, but our growth this previous year, it has been good. We can lay some we can lay some testimonies and yes, clap our hands for Nigeria, but we have a lot to still do, a lot to still cover. We have a lot that was even left, like right from the last Independence Day to this Independence Day. A lot was not done, and a lot has to be done, and a lot has to be changed. But I don't know what you have to say about that.
Well, the aspect of growth, I feel, for transparency's sake, we know that some meetings might be held, agendas have been seen into, we want to do this, we want to do that. And now, to the end of it, the citizens, we want to see that these things take place. And whenever we see that these things don't take place, you begin to see questions arising. People will begin to ask questions. Even with the press, we begin to throw in some questions. So if you are trying to avoid all these questions, you will definitely see the things you are doing. So this meeting, I know a lot of things has been said. Come on, look at the list of the dignitaries you mentioned. I missed others.
United Nigeria.
United Nigeria.
United States of
Nigeria. So I know
Nigeria.
a lot of things have been discussed, but we want to see that all of this find expression here. All of these are in place. So if we do not see these things in place, then questions will begin to come up, and we are so much inquisitive to get the reason why most of this thing that has been said is not being done. So let's hope that it's not just going to only be words, but it's also going to be action.
So if we want a united Nigeria,
United States.
In the words of Bishop, the United States of Nigeria, we must actually come together and make sure that we do not just work with words, but action. We'll be looking into our next newspaper front page, which is the Nation newspaper. We see that the release of AIG subsidy reports to unmask real beneficiaries, or $10 urges the federal government. We also see that BOI on scalps data protection in page 28, bags iOS 27701 certification. We also see in page 4 that no discussion yet on zoning in ADC, says spokesman. I also see that 24 states to benefit from the AFDB's backing on agri expansion in page 4, and the ABC of NPC's decision on rates to curb inflation in page 2. We also see that federal government intervenes in Dangote and Pegasan row. We pray that that particular intervention should actually yield fruit, a permanent fruit that can stop this issue between Pegasan, Dangote, and Aso Bank. We also see beneath it that no religious genocide in Nigeria, says Idris. We also see oil makers union strike call condemnable, says Dangote Refinery. And back to our story on, okay, yes, we've looked into that particular story. We see that the federal government has actually intervened in the Dangote Pegasan rule. And it's actually a beautiful one.
Yeah, we just need that intervention. And this happens to be all the big stories in literally all of our newspapers, right?
Actually.
So it's something that we need a
It's an
final
escalated
answer.
issue already.
Seriously, because...
And we were looking towards the federal government solving it, and to see that the federal government has decided to solve it is actually good. But we want a, well, I say, sustainable...
Conclusion. Yes. Because Dangote has been trending. Look at
from last month.
From last month, see, this time
They've
is
been
still
having
on our
issues.
newspapers. So I feel it's not just about them right now. Because even with the cities who are concerned, because if care is not taken, there's going to be inflation of prices on our goods too as well. Because it's still fuel we're talking about, it's still gas, electricity too is also a partaker of this. So if this is not curtailed on time, we are going to be affected, but we hope to see a final answer on that.
Okay, we'll be moving into our Tribune newspaper front page. You see that the federal government has paid Osun State local government allocation into APC members' account. NULGE reveals in page 18. We also see that Nigerian faces reduced number of banks as mergers acquisition pressures intensify in page 7. And NDLEA arrests 2 drug kingpins with cocaine, heroin, meth in Lagos in page 27. We also see that Oba Lodoja unfolds economic plan for Ibadan land in page 16 as he assures the local foreigner investors of enabling environment, and also says that Ibadan adheres religious crisis and lets this coronation be the beginning of a new beginning of a new, will I say, a new Ibadan, a new Ibadan state. And that has come from so many people. We want to see that all the states actually, not just Ibadan state, or every other state actually buys into the idea of the Lodoja of Ibadan state. We also see that security operatives rescues 8 kidnapped victims in Kogi State in page 27. Now moving to our story of the federal government issue with the Osun State local government allocation. We see that the Osun State chapter of National Union of Local Government Employees, NU, has accused the federal government of illegally releasing 6-month allocation of local government into the account opened by a sacked APC chairman and councillor. We see that the NULGE chairman, Dr. Nathaniel, has described this move as bizarre and unprecedented, alleging that the top federal officials, including the Minister of Finance, Wale Odu, facilitated these disbursements despite the ongoing court case. He stressed that this payment violated the existing judgment of and disrespected the Supreme Court, warning that such action threatened peace and the rule of law in the state. According to him, the federal government High Court had earlier ordered parties to maintain the status of queue pending further hearing, but the government went ahead with the allocation. He insisted that these new council leaders elected under the governor Ademola Adeleke should be rightful custodians of the fund. Now, this is, I want to say it's an allegation, because of course it's still an allegation. The court has not been able to rule anything yet on this particular issue, that the money for federal government allocation in Osun State was transferred into a removed APC chairman and councillor in Osun State. And the federal government has come to say that this is an official account, first of all, and we did not transfer the money into his account, his personal account. But the issue here is, I think Osun State is saying that this man still has, my question is, does he still have access to this particular account that they're talking about? They need to look into these things and bring all of this evidence out. Is he still having access to that particular account? Of course, if they've removed him from seats, officially he would have submitted everything he had access to the government, the state government itself. But if we are still having issue with, he shouldn't. No, naturally, a disbursement of local government funds should not even be to the state, even to the state financial accountant, will I say bank itself. It should be to the state bank. And if he oversees the state bank, he should be able to submit it when he has left today. So I don't see the fight that they are actually having, but we are waiting to hear from the court. Now, the major issue is the court had actually said that they should hold on all of this for now. But yet, the federal government went ahead to actually disburse this particular allocation, and we are seeing that that's the major issue that they are actually having with it.
Said that FG was told to hold on, but they still further disbursed the money. This thing is going to compromise the public trust the citizens ask for the government, because if something like this should happen, the question is, what about the other things that is happening that we're not even aware of, right? Because that's even what I feel at some point. If something is obvious, and you know that this is not really supposed to be obvious like that, then the question is, then there are other things like this that are happening that it did not even go out this way. But since it's still an allegation, let's hold on. And I'm sure this man in question is not on the run. So if definitely the money will still come outside, I'm sure the money will still come outside.
He's not running it. He's not running to anywhere. He's not going anywhere. He's still around. Okay, we'll be going on a short break. When we come back, we're looking into our tech news for today.
Enhancing cybersecurity. As cyber attacks grow more sophisticated, cybersecurity technologies are evolving to defend against them. AI-driven threat detection systems, zero-trust architectures, and advanced encryption methods are becoming the new norm. However, keeping up with rapidly evolving threats is a challenge, especially for industries that handle sensitive data like finance and healthcare. The cybersecurity market is expected to reach $248.26 billion by 2024. But the constant need for innovation and adaptation means businesses need to stay vigilant.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is your newspaper review on MIDDAY Television. I am Jacobs Deborah, and we've been looking through different newspaper front page. Now we'll be diving into our tech news for today. And the first tech news we'll be looking at, first and only tech news we'll be looking at, is Trump calls on Microsoft to fire global affairs chief Lisa Monaco. The U.S. President Donald Trump has urged Microsoft to dismiss the Lisa Monaco, the company's global affairs president, a former top official of Obama and Biden's administration. Trump describes Monaco as a menace to U.S. national security, pointing to Microsoft's major government contracts and her past role overseeing the Justice Department response to January 6 Capitol attack. We also see that Monaco, who joined Microsoft in July, previously served as Deputy Attorney to the General under the President Biden as a national security aide to President Obama. Her federal security clearance were revoked earlier this year, and Trump said that she has now been banned from all federal properties due to wrongful acts. The call comes a day after the former FBI Director James Comey, another longtime Trump critic, was inducted. Trump has openly pursued retribution against the figures he considered political enemies. Been trying to bring, will I say, a unified voice between the tech companies in the U.S. and government or governance in the U.S. So he doesn't want to bring it out to be different. So every tech company should, will I say, be security cautious and alert. He is very conscious about every security, will I say, security covering in every tech companies, because according to him, in a way, affects the government and his governance as the president of the U.S. And of course, you can understand that fact, because we know that if the tech companies like Microsoft, which we know we've been hearing about the issue of, will I say, cyber attacks and all of that, and people being able to tackle into
and hack into your
hack into
systems.
system, companies data has been released, companies data has been hacked, company systems being hacked, and national data has been released, or will I say the whole country's data be released, and Trump has an issue with this particular problem that's been happening, and to bring will I say a solution to that particular problem, Trump has been able to, or is trying to, make an alliance between the tech companies in the US and his governance to actually come together to actually to put out a better US. Like I said, I understand this fact, but coming to the extent of telling, first of all, I want to know if it's legally possible for the president to come out and tell a tech company, a private tech company, let's not say, it's not a it's not, I don't think it's owned by, Microsoft is owned by the government, of course, and he's saying that he should sack
this lady.
Of course, but we know that Microsoft have not said anything
Microsoft.
yet.
So I feel it's just more like, it should call it suggestion, because of the description they have given earlier about this lady, due to alliance with the federal government earlier, and she has known some officials, she has worked with some persons, and even in quotes in that write-up, in what you read out, wrongful act. So I feel maybe, since as a leader of who Trump is, he is trying to be very conscious, security conscious. He does not want to take chances, of which that is expected of every good leader. Whenever you see any indices of corruption trying to play, and you know your stand is against that thing, you try to lay it off immediately. Just that now there's a clash, there's going to be a little clash, because he's not mainly the sole proprietor of this industry. Yeah, he's just a president. So him saying that there's a new president, right, to the global affairs of this tech company, it can therefore suggest to the company itself that this person you just put in power is so and so. Earlier this was her identity, earlier this was her position, and for these reasons she might not stay in this position, because some things might go wrong. And at the same time, I feel it's just a suggestion. Then the Microsoft can now look at it from that end, that what can we do? But if eventually things go wrong, of which I don't pray for things to go wrong, you will now see the essence of a leader. That's if Microsoft decides to take upon the suggestion of the president. So I just feel, as a good leader of who Trump is, and that's what he's trying to do. He's just trying to make sure that their data is not being breached or is not being compromised due to the person that is now the president of the global affairs. But regardless of what Microsoft will do, it's up to them to do.
You know, Trump actually sees her as, being that she is a Microsoft Global Affairs president, he sees that she has an influence inside the company with a huge US government contact. Now, Trump portrays this as security risk on big tech companies.
Sure.
And of course, like I said previously, is because of the fact that we know that tech companies are related to governmental will I say contact, according to what has been happening. If we notice so many tech companies, and if tech companies are having issues, of course there's going to be an will I say an effect of it on the governance of that particular country. Now, some of the things he mentioned was that she, as former deputy attorney general under Biden in 2021 to 2024, she helped oversee the Justice Department an investigation in January 6th. Trump analyzed this and classified document cases. Now, he sees this as part of witch hunt against him. Now, also, we saw that he said that she being Obama's counterterrorism and Homeland Security advisor, now in 2013 and 2017, is tied to policy and surveillance, cybersecurity, and Russian election interference. Now, Trump is calling that a deep state politics. He is seeing all of this. Is the fact that he's seeing, will I say,
her former engagements.
Thank you. Her engagement in politics
yes.
and governance. Her broad understanding and knowledge of how politics and governance is going. And she now working under a tech company. He sees this as a big threat to governance itself. And if issues will attack, if there will be issues in any, of course we know that will not happen, but if there be further issues between tech companies and the government, I'm seeing that from his own point of view. I'm trying to look at that, but of course he has not come out to say that. I'm trying to see if they have issues with tech companies and the governance have issues with tech companies, they have a better hand, because of they have somebody who has worked with the government who knows the US government in and out, and she's working in a tech company. He sees it as a global risk or a national risk to the particular country.
Yeah, all of this is perspective. Now we have had the perspective from Donald Trump's side.
I don't see it. I don't see any of the allegations.
Maybe wrong or
right. I don't see it
rather.
right. I don't see any reason why they should remove her because of that reason. Yes, I understand the fact that he's trying to save, or will I say protect, the governance of his country, but I don't see any reason why should, to that extent, want her to
that's Donald Trump's perspective. Let's see what the Microsoft company, the
I want to even see from
a
good point of view that she can even better help them work hand to hand with tech companies, because of course, and security will be top notch in tech companies, because of course she knows that she knows the risk that the whole country faces if data or cyber attacks are being effected on these tech companies. She knows the risk. She should be able to, like say, help in preventing those risks from happening. So you need to be moving her because of security. Security reasons. But like you said, let's not look into that. So lastly, we'll be looking into the news of that same newspaper we looked at last before we went on a short break. That's
Daily Times.
The Tribune newspaper, yes, front page, where we see that Nigerian faces reduced number of banks and mergers acquisition pursue intensify. Why I'm bringing back this particular news is because, of course, I just saw that it is of great risk to Nigeria. We see that Central Bank has asked banks that are below 500 billion naira, that are holding money below 500 billion naira, should close. This is the job risk we've been having. And will I say job opportunity that opportunity that we are looking for slipping out of our hands. First, we saw that Dangote released 800 people,
800
workers. Now we're seeing that banks will be closed. And like you mentioned during that Dangote discussion, these are people who will come out from school. We don't know how many bankers, people who studied finance in school and banking will come out from our schools this year. And of course, we know that some graduation just happened of recent in some polytechnics. And if this is going to continue being an issue in Nigeria, will I say, governance as a whole, is it that we do not consider these issues? We do not consider the fact that so many things can happen.
Yes.
When it comes to job opportunities,
people are looking for it seriously, but any little opportunity now, research will lay staffs off again.
But anyway,
Nigeria.
It's Nigeria, our country. I will come to an end of our newspaper review, but would like you to like, comment, tell us what you think about every headline that has been tackled on the newspaper review, as well as like and subscribe so that you can see pop-ups of shows like this and further shows.